The Radio Cayman app now on your Android or iOS phone
The Radio Cayman app
is where you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio Cayman everywhere.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Welcome and thank you very much for joining us on another wonderful Wednesday. We'll start things off with some open line, and then 1 o'clock our friends to the bank will call in and we get a chance to shine the light on them as we celebrate our month of elderly. But between now and then it'll be open line, so we want to hear from you, see if the phones are working. Who's bringing chocolate? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us. You know, they say the only thing better than chocolate cake is some cassava cake. It's lunchtime. I'm reminded we should talk about some food. Not only are we going to be looking into celebrating our history and our heritage coming up in short order, but let's get into it. What's on your mind, though? A lot of things happening, not all good. It's not about burying our heads in the sand, nor is it about focusing on the negative. But someone asked me earlier, says, how do you remain positive? I thought, well, have you looked in the mirror? And it's not so much at the reflection, there's looking back at you, but how does it reflect our society? The service and sacrifice of our ancestors, they must have been positive. We hear stories about the mosquitoes being so bad that, you couldn't do this, that, or the next thing. Well, if they lived a life that was prayerful, if they were always positive and productive, if they were looking, and positioning themselves, believing and expecting and hoping and praying, for better. There's a positive outlook. It takes perhaps more effort to be negative and to frown. Doesn't mean that we don't recognize what's before us, but there is indeed a lot. So, what can we say that may provide some sort of viable solution? What can we share that may be inspiring to others? What specifically can we be doing that adds value to the lives of others? Well, let's see if the phones are working. 949-8037, 949-6990. Are there other lines and numbers working, Mr. Paul? Nope, he say, yeah, they are, but that's for afterwards. 1-800-534, probably not. Give us a shout and share your thoughts with us. Of course, you can, send us a voice note, send us a WhatsApp, 925-3261. I listened just briefly, partly because of, the setting and the like, but also because of, the connection. Sometimes we spend what seemingly is a lot of money on things that don't work. But in the brief, moments, the lady was just giving an overview of some of the things that have happened in history, and but for that dogged, determined approach by some, things would have just went by the wayside. And I asked one of the individuals, is that what's missing in our society? We don't have the staying power anymore. If we cook something, 30 seconds later, we want the meal that would have taken our parents and grandparents sometimes days to prepare, even. Certain hours on the stove, low and slow. But now we want to press one button and without worrying too much about it, it's supposed to come out perfect in seconds. It's not just this notion of immediate gratification. It's unwillingness to appreciate that sometimes things take effort, things take time, but you got to be working diligently. You have to be very assiduous in your approach. Are we? 949-8037, 949-6990, and share your thoughts. Challenging as it is, though, to sometimes always look at things and with a sense of hopeful expectation. There isn't a lot that is happening that sometimes don't call many of us to be overly concerned, perhaps, at the things that are happening, not just in our midst, but perhaps around the world. That level of instantaneous information that we're getting almost constantly. It can be bombarding and overwhelming. It can be informative and instructive, but it can also cause us to have to pause and step away sometimes and wonder, is it all that we see? And then what we are seeing, is it what we're understanding? And if it is as it is transpired, as reported, is there anything we can do about it? Does that give us the sense of failure and a defeatist mentality? Or does it inspire us and says, well, until we stop trying, then that's the only time that we, truly fail? Well, your view. 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp 925-32-621. And not looking at it from any majorly sort of informed perspective, but particular comment was shared relative to the increasing costs to a country as the governments, not just in the Cayman Islands and not just this one at this time, but just governments in general, looking at its budget. How does it find money to pay for the things? How does it find money to maybe do some of the things that the politicians today would like to achieve? Well, let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing. All right, well, make a note of that one. That one certainly wakes us up. Try it again. 949-8037, 949-6990, and share your thoughts if you so choose. In this whole era in which we find ourselves, there are many who are constantly looking at ways to contribute in a positive way, and probably there are those who are finding ways that they can extract even more. They probably wouldn't be content with getting blood from a stone. They would want to see there's plasma and everything else there, and that's the nature of some of us. Others, we give and give and give and give. Others are too content to just take and take and take. Well, give us your perspective. 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp 925-3261, and share. How are you, today? How are you genuinely feeling? How are you doing? And not just that you may be concerned about having insufficient money. Maybe it's some of the things that lie ahead and you're concerned. It could just be down the road, Christmas. What is that going to look like for you? Or will you be able to buy gifts for those that mean something for you? Don't have to be expensive. You just want to know, well, will you even have, money to buy candy or apples, whatever it is that, you associate with Christmas in terms of giving and receiving. But what about down the road when you retire? A year from now? 15 years from now? Do many of us even think that far? What about your concerns for your children's future? Their employment and educational opportunities? The general safety and well-being of all of us? We see that sometimes the behaviors in our society. Well, let's pause quickly and take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk today.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from October 2nd through the 7th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
I'm Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism and Ports, and I need your help to keep our beautiful islands clean. Littering is unsightly and negatively impacts our tourism industry, which is crucial to our economy. Keeping our islands clean is everyone's responsibility, so let's all work together to keep the Cayman Islands beautiful for generations to come.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the all-new Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
Attention Cayman Brac residents, your voices have been heard. We are thrilled to announce that Cayman National will be installing a new ATM in the Kirkconnell store in Stake Bay on September 1st. At Cayman National, our priority is to make banking easy and convenient.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sharing with us. It's going to be open line until 1 o'clock, and then our good friends from Brac, Miss Anna Rose and Miss Julianne will join us as we get to celebrate our Elder Day. It is the month of October, and we do much, including celebrate Ray Banker's birthday. Yes, a lot happens in October. What's on your mind? 949-8037, 949-6990. We gather it's a nice little rain outside in some spaces, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. But be very mindful that if you're on the roads, to be even more careful. 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. In the discussion we referenced earlier, as we didn't get a chance to be able to stay and listen to its entirety, the lady, as she was presenting, we're looking at historical context and the demands sometimes placed on governments as a result of the growing population. And she made a couple of comments, and as we were leaving, one of the fellows said, if you look at it, it's a historical analysis, but could it be very much similar to what we're seeing, not just in certain parts of the world, but right here in Cayman? The increased population, recognizing the challenges relative to paying for the increased cost, and maybe expecting that the government of the day would be able to step in and offer up financial assistance with housing and the like, and with other things. One of the two individuals otherwise shared, well, should government be in that business? Should government be building and subsidizing housing for its people? Or should it provide a landscape that allows people to be able to access it much more easily? Perhaps a system that provides favorable interest rates, ensure costs that aren't so beyond the reach of normal citizens. Well, what is your view? 949-8037, 949-6990. Or you can WhatsApp 925-32-621 and share your thoughts with us. Now, one of the individuals has shared that perhaps sometimes the competing interests of many of the citizens is that as the governments come and go and look at policies, potentially there is that seemingly conflict because there isn't a sufficient long enough term view of what is it that the country wants. If it's going to be educating the citizens in certain areas, that level of instruction sometimes can take years, not just as trained physicians and engineers, but as educators and otherwise. Very much like its approach to its infrastructure development. Will it be able to do everything overnight or even in a decade? Sometimes those things may take a much longer and deliberate sacrifice in order to bring them to fruition. The question is, do we have that vision and do we have that resolve to make that necessary sacrifice? Very much like our parents and grandparents of yesteryear. They more than likely consciously did what they did with that expectation that the lives as they got older would be hopefully better, not necessarily easier, but safer, healthier. That their children and that their grandchildren, that they were looking, beyond just a few years ahead. Do we have that same level of insight and perspective? Well, 949-8037, 949-8037, or 949-6990. If you want to share your thoughts on the WhatsApp, well, that's 925-32-621. And the other sort of comment that one of the two individuals shared in passing is the pace of development, not just the potential impact on the coastline, whether we set buildings back further and further from the water's edge or the iron shore or the like, but if we continue to build higher buildings or we develop in areas that previously weren't being built. Many can see the coastline, the proposals and approved projects in the Bacchus area, for instance, or in the eastern districts. Are they serving the interests of the populace now? Will they actually serve interests down the road? Well, it's a matter of perhaps who you ask. For some, they'll immediately say, of course it does. And for others, they'll say, well, is it really benefiting the country and its people? Is it that level of investment giving a sufficient return now relative to some other time in the future that might be even better? And not just the financial return, but look at the other associated costs. The cost to the country because of the increased congestion on the roads, because of the increased population. Others will share, well, what about the increased cost to the country to having to provide, not only additional housing, schools, and medical spaces, but it's other, services. The fire service, can it accommodate in increased numbers and heights of buildings and the like? The increased densities of developments and the like. Well, as one fellow shared, he says it's almost as if you're just talking into the wind, because many don't look beyond, their noses. I think the way he phrased it with the other descriptors that he used. Is that part of the challenge? Well, you tell us. 949-8037, 949-8037, or 949-6990. Of course, you can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts, as we would look specifically sometimes at those opinions of the masses, as it were, to help to not only engage in an informative discussion, but to encourage and inspire others to look at what is happening. Now, the other sort of elephant in the room, as many would share, and that has to do with what the lady and the limited amount of the presentation that we saw when she asked. Now, I didn't get the question answer. I don't know what any of the responses were. But she asked, to what extent are people willfully blind to what is before them? Their, sheer unwillingness sometimes to ignore some of the things. We've heard people refer to as, the ostrich in the sand sort of mentality, where people just ignore it. Hopefully it'll go away. But is that part of the problem? Whether it's the increased crime that we're, seeing, or whether it's the behaviors in our schools, whether it's the allegations of some of the practices in our businesses, whether there are other things that may have been, things that happen in our society, but on a more limited scale, or maybe they were always there, but we just thought if we ignored them, they would go away. Well, what is your view? Are they getting worse, or have they always been there and never acknowledged nor addressed? Well, you tell us. 949-8037, 949-6990, or WhatsApp 925-3261, and share your thoughts with us as we welcome your, sort of considered perspective on where we are with what is before us. Now, as many of our students are spending probably for them now their first, month and better in school as we engage in this academic year, have we had conversations with them? Not just what it's like, but what are their expectations? What are they hoping for at the end of the school year? For those who will be looking towards graduation, for those who may be entering their final, years coming next school year, for those who are considering, they may have to leave this school to attend another. Perhaps some are going to be leaving this jurisdiction altogether. And if so, why? To those who are considering what they will be doing once they leave school next year. Is it the workplace or otherwise? All right, well, with that I'm told, we'll take a quick little break, and when we return, we invite you to give us a shout and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037, 949-6990. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what, though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Attention Cayman Brac residents. Your voices have been heard. We are thrilled to announce that Cayman National will be installing a new ATM in the Kirkconnell store in Stake Bay on September 1st. At Cayman National, our priority is to make banking easy and convenient.
Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
An amazing selection of dining sets awaits you at Tomlinson Furniture, just in time for all those friends and family gatherings. From Thanksgiving to Christmas, be prepared to present your wonderful spread. Let laughter fill the air as you create cherished memories together. From counter heights, 6-seater to space-saving folding tables, including a bar, counter stools for extra seating around the table. Finding moments of serenity and comfort is a treasure beyond measure. All at Tomlinson Furniture at the corner of Hospital and Walkers Road. Great looks, best prices, always.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It is an open line, and as we referenced after the headline news at 1, we're going to get a chance to speak to Miss Anna Rose and Miss Julianne from the BRAC as we celebrate a month of our elderly. It's going to be an exciting opportunity. Looking forward to having them join us for a bit as we get a chance to shine their light on our wonderful people in our community. But it's open line between now and then as we invite you to call 949-8037, 949-6990, or you can WhatsApp 925-32621. Well, quick message from someone during the break. It's a little bit longer than I had time to look at it carefully, so let me try to read some of it, but let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon. Dwayne, how are you doing?
Hey, awesome, man. Thank you very much for reaching out to us, man. How are you today?
No problem. Still going,
Still
enjoying a little bit of weather. A bit of rain today.
Yeah, it looks nice out there, huh?
For sure.
Yeah, man.
So you have an open line today, or you have a specific topic?
No, right now it's open. 1 o'clock, we get a chance to Miss Julianne Scott and Miss Anna Rose Scott to join us from the back for a bit as we talk about a month of elderly, and then some open line after that. But for now, until the headline news at 1, it's open.
Right. Okay. So, I've been a little bit perturbed lately. I don't know if you saw that social media post from an American person. Not to have anything against any foreigners or Americans or anything like that.
Right.
About how to fix Cayman Islands and his experience here. And our government reached out to him and said that because he said that he didn't see any Caymanians here. And the gist of it was he said he didn't see any Caymanians and his experience wasn't any good, although he had COVID while he was on the island. So I guess he didn't get to do much. And then our government reached out to him and said they would fly him and his family back out here to see what the Caymanian experience is.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little issue with that. And it went on more than that. And now he's talking about housing in Cayman. And some Caymanians are actually playing into that social media aspect of it, right? When I don't think him and those Caymanians that playing into that really are not thinking about what this guy is saying. Okay? And I'll voice my opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
He may have come here and haven't seen any Caymanians he claims. But I would like everyone to ask themselves, what does a Caymanian look like in this day and age?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a changed facade,
how would
right?
you know who is Caymanian and who's not Caymanian unless you ask, right? And it's a numbers game as far as I'm concerned, right? And what I mean by that is this. If our population is between 75,000 to 80,000 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our Caymanian population is only 20,000 people, how much people do you expect to see in that industry, in tourism?
Yeah.
Because all Caymanians can't fill the gap in tourism. Okay? It's not going to happen with the population, what Caymanians are. It's impossible.
Right.
Right? So to see a Caymanian in every workforce, it's literally impossible. Okay? Back in the olden days where they had a couple of hotels and stuff, you had all the Caymanians, that's the face you used to see all the time because the population was a lot smaller, but the hotels, there's a lot less hotels and stuff like that, as we know. Right? Now, we transition into this where we're building all these hotels and we're supposedly creating jobs which we're not really creating for Caymanians because we don't have the Caymanians to fill all the stores.
Right.
So when a new hotel open all the time, say where we have jobs for Caymanians, well, how? What Caymanians? The Caymanians that are in that industry are already in that industry, unless they're duplicating them or overnight having a bunch of other Caymanians come in, then we can't fill the post.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the issues I see with what he was saying. And I see him talking about rent and stuff, and people are playing into this aspect. This man knows nothing about Cayman. Okay? And for instance, if he was staying at a hotel, I'm pretty sure all hotels have concierge services, right? That he could ask, where do I go for Cayman experience? And they should tell him. And if the hotels are not telling him about those experiences, then you have to ask yourself why and what the tourism board is doing about making sure, the Department of Tourism, making sure that they say where the Cayman experiences are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because who's checking on that? I don't know. Do you know?
And the thing is, we've heard allegations from many people, from the tour operators to the concierge, of the things that they say to their guests that seem like inaccurate. So as you said, who's checking on it? Who's making sure that they're speaking from an informed, accurate perspective, right?
That's my point. So
yeah.
If there's a service in a hotel that is not an any hotel, that is not given the correct information, and of course people are not going to get the Cayman experience. But to say that you're not seeing a Cayman and people playing into that, right? The numbers are not right to be able to see a Cayman everywhere you go. He came through our airport, our airport full of Caymanians in the airport. The first point of reference is your immigration officers and that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all Caymanians, right? So first point of reference is you see a bunch of Caymanians when you come into the airport. If you ask them where the Cayman experience would be, I'm pretty sure they would tell it, right? And at the hotel, they should be able to tell any tourist also what the Cayman experience is. But if you're going to have those kind of services selling Cayman Islands and what the Cayman experience is, then shouldn't there be a criteria on what information, where the information, and how it's given?
Mm-hmm.
All right? So we can control our so-called tourism product. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless those stuff are done, then these are the kind of stuff we can say. But it saddens me to see Caymanians playing in to that aspect of it when it's nonsensical.
Yeah, I mean, and as you're sharing, an issue that may be to many just seems to be very, very, very simple, but it perhaps is informative and speaks significantly. Even to this day, we understand that many of the local operators have been unable to put their brochures into the lobbies of the hotel from one excuse after to the next. So if a facility, say on 7 Mile Beach, has prevented an operator, let's say in Bordentown or East End, from coming, producing a nice flyer, putting it in the rack and says, out here we have this on offer. Is that what part of the challenge with excluding our own from the...
It shouldn't be a challenge, as in, I think it should be, we should control our tourism product.
Mm-hmm.
And if you build a hotel here on this Cayman Island soil and you're selling Cayman Islands as a product, then the Department of Tourism is the one that's supposed to have a criteria in place that you need to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you have tour operators or horse riding, people that carry people on horse, right, then I'm pretty sure you should have a criteria. These are the Cayman experience. These things have to be in the hotel. It shouldn't be a choice.
Right.
Okay? In my aspect, because if you're here selling Cayman Islands, you're selling this what Cayman Islands is about, then it should not be a choice for those people to put those things there. It should be a given that it is there because that's the experience, and that somebody don't want that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a little bit comical to me when we watch and we say, okay, he hasn't come here and see the Cayman experience. But I'm going to ask you a question because I believe that you still live in West Bay. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
on your way home, do you remember the West Bay that was there before from what you see right now?
So
What does it look like to you?
Yeah.
Right? The only way you're going to get the Cayman experience is not on 7 Mile Beach. Okay? You used to be able to get a Cayman experience at 7 Mile Beach. You won't get it anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
So you need to go east for that.
What do you think? I mean, he made a comment, and everybody with a camera knows is a journalist or a commentator. But if we bring him or anybody else back there, I mean, how do we benefit? What is it we're hoping to expect to be able to improve or to address, or are we just trying to pacify somebody?
You're trying to pacify somebody that's talking nonsense, and honestly speaking, Caymanians are playing into that. I mean, they have him talking about rent in Cayman Islands and stuff like that. What does he know about rent besides what people are telling him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the kind of things that bothers me. Do we have a rent problem in Cayman Islands? I think the rent. I don't rent, but I've heard people saying that the rent is expensive. But what can you really do about that when the government sees no means and no ends into dropping the cost of living? So it needs to start with the government dropping the cost of living, right? And some of these things, when you think about this stuff, I heard you just before I called talking about school leavers and education and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Those are things that also need to be addressed. And these are things, right, that politicians have been kicking this can down the road for about 40 years, okay? And continue to kick this can down the road. So it's good sound bites to say that you're paying for people to go to school and then to college, and they're going to go to college, and you're paying for the full to go to college, and they get a degree. Okay? After you get a degree and you come back here, what type of working experience do you have?
Mm-hmm.
What job are you going to go into? Now you have to understand with the population that I just gave you, right? Think about it in this manner. The population I just gave you between 75 to 80,000 people, 20,000 came on in, or thereabouts, right? They go away to school, these children go away to school, they come back here. They are now competing, right, with the best of the best because some of those people are imported. They have the experience. They come here with the experience on the way. Some of them don't. I'm not saying that all of them do, right? But some of them have a lot of experience when they come here, okay? And then companies with the cost of living and the cost of everything here are looking to make a profit, and therefore they're not going to extend their hand in that manner to give that job opportunity, although you have a degree to then turn around and train you. So shouldn't then we look to make sure these students that go away have some kind of working experience while they're there. Whether you stay there for 2 years, 3 years after you graduate to get that working experience, then to come back here, and then you're coming back with a degree and experience, therefore there's no more excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that something that we're looking at? And if we're not looking at that, why not? Are we then kicking the can down the road again for another government to come talk about the same thing and jobs for Caymanians and how we're going to get it? Unless we actually fix that issue, we'll end up talking about this over and over again. Caymanians can't get jobs, blah, 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 all the time, because you're not really giving all the tools out for these kids that are coming out of school and going to college and spending time in college to come back here. You're not giving them all the tools.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving them some of the tools, but none of the rest, right? And they can come back here and work, but it's hard for them to get a job when they don't have the working experience. You must agree with that, because not all companies are going to hire you and then take you and train you to do this stuff, because the cost of living is so high and the profit margin is probably low, and they have to do that. That's just what companies do. They're in business to make money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? End of story. Right? So we need to put things in place, and then you can enforce that, okay, this person has this much experience and they have a degree. Here you go. You have to take this person. What can immigration really say when you have a degree? And I have somebody that on a work permit that have a degree and they have experience. How are you going to outweigh that on a company? You can't.
Yeah. How do we make it so that the economy and its engine is affected in a way that is positive for all of us, right?
Exactly, and it's not very difficult, and it's mind-boggling to me to think, right, that it's so difficult to fix Cayman Islands, and we always kick cans down the road and listen to these little sound bites, right? And kicking can down the road, and it's mind-boggling to me why we continue to let these people do this, and still we go back to the polls and we still vote. And I'm tired of hearing the same things over and over again, because it's the same thing, right? Every election year, the same exact issues, the same exact problems they're promising to fix, and the same thing that never gets fixed. Right? So that is the thing that Caymanians need to ask themselves. Okay? Now, are we better off 10 years ago than we are now? Are we going to be better off in the next 4 years, 8 years? That's what you need to start asking yourself.
And what are we doing to make sure that's the case,
what
right?
are we doing to make sure that that's the case? And people need to understand, especially the people that sell their vote for turkeys and ham and stuff like that. Your vote, Dwayne, don't really belong to you, right? Okay? When you vote now, all right, you're voting for your kids' future. So when you give away your vote for those little sound bites that may make you feel good, and because you like said person or whatever the case may be, you're putting the children's future in jeopardy. What are you leaving for them? Are you making sure you're paving the way for them? Right? So those are the things that these people need to ask themselves. Right?
Yeah. You always, not just make some, very valid points, but you leave us some questions that hopefully people start thinking about it and understand the wisdom what you're sharing, man. All right?
Well, if they don't start now, when? You know the best time to plant a tree? Huh?
Yep. Yeah.
You want me to tell you the best time to plant a tree?
Tell us.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now.
Yep.
If you understand what I'm saying.
If you haven't planted it yet, you better start now, right? Don't wait till tomorrow.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. And this is where our people, if we would listen and invite them to chat. Mr. Carl, what? One quick call? That's right. Hey, welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Hey, Steven.
Hey, what's happening, man? How are you?
I'm much better today, thank God.
All right. Well, the prayers that tomorrow even be better.
Yes, agreed. Thank you, and also to you, bro.
Thank you.
You said just a couple of minutes, quick call. I guess I'll try to make it quick. Didn't have any intentions of calling, but I just tuned into the caller there and heard what he said. So I wanted to address the substantive of what he was talking about initially, but then I also wanted to, I don't know if I can say correct, because I agree with the points that the gentleman made in terms of making the examples, but there's so many ears that listen and they twist things, and they also get certain things in their head in regards to true numbers and the whole nine, and we need to stop downplaying the Caymanian number because that in of itself creates its own issues, in my view. So let's just start there and then work backwards. So yeah, the Caymanian population is about 50% of the actual population. So if we're dealing with 80,000, let's say, then we're dealing with something close to 35 or 40,000 Caymanians.
You're willing to go that high? All right.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
As per the law. So if we're dealing with traditional Caymanians, if I had to take a guess, then we knock off another 10 or 15%, 10 or 15,000. You're still looking something close to about 30,000 thereabouts. So, let us not downplay those numbers. The reality is that is the case as it stands, my brother. And we have to keep putting that figure there. Now, in regards to the issue that he talked about, I only got to see, I saw this blow up of this gentleman while I was actually overseas on vacation, and I did get to see it. And I listened to it a little bit in its entirety, and then some of the follow-up things that he had. But I'm not going to blame. I'm going to take a slightly different lens to the last caller. Everything he said as a Caymanian, a passionate one as well, all things Cayman, it is true in many instances. And a glaring indictment on us as a people, but particularly our leaders of many decades who failed us in so many instances, who haven't got the trade schools and the hotel schools and all those kind of things to really get Caymanians involved with the industry. And in fact, I understand that the minister reached out to him and invited him back for a Cayman experience that is obviously tailored. But if nothing else, that does not solve the glaring problem that he highlighted, which is that he certainly didn't see Caymanians, but let's talk about culture. He talked about culture and experiencing the Cayman experience up front, not something that's tailored.
Mm-hmm.
So coming to vacation in Cayman, you should be experiencing the Cayman experience. And so at the heart of that, he should use that is the minister, as a sounding board, that here's your visitors telling you that they're, and those who are not, repeat customers to Cayman and understand the Cayman experience and understand who we are. The gentleman did two things. He jabbed at the fact that we're successful, which we thank God for in many instances, and other times we say, Lord, it seems like a curse, particularly for the traditional Caymanians. But so I couldn't tell if he was jealous that we were so successful, because he talked about all the construction and the likes. But then he talked about legitimately having a real visitor experience. And from that aspect, that's the indictment. That's what the minister should be using to those same tourism boards and going to them and saying, that's your visitor telling you this, that you need to get Caymanians up front, even if it's the one or two token Caymanians, even if you have the one or two on your front desk, or the one or two bellmen, because not even bellmen jobs we can get nowadays, or the restaurant. You need to get Caymanians in your business, Mr. Ritz. You need to get Caymanians in your business, Mr. So-and-so, all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we should be aiming for. We shouldn't certainly look to justify why he is wrong, because he's not wrong. He's not wrong that the visitor who has not had the Cayman experience for many years and know who we are will come here and not really be immersed in the Cayman experience and perhaps see a Cayman. And he talked about the fact that the locals must be hiding somewhere, struggling. That's true. We're trying to make it. And so from that standpoint, we have failed ourselves miserably. And I want to hear our leaders using that as a sounding board for pushing harder at getting Caymanians in the industry and stop. We need to stop, downplaying that reality and talk, trying to justify why we're not there and all this other stuff. That's counterproductive.
Mm-hmm.
Making a legitimate point in my view. And we failed ourselves, bro. I just want leaders to be able to start addressing it. That's what I need. That's what this country needs. Thanks for making me share my thoughts.
Thank you for, sharing what you did, man. We'll talk to you whenever you can again, all right?
Thanks, bro.
All right. Well, with that, let's just take our news break. When we come back, we'll join our friends from the back and we get a chance to celebrate, the wonderful people. Stay tuned.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. The Cayman Islands Coast Guard announces the suspension of its search for 2 missing individuals. Despite traversing over 1,000 miles and employing all available resources over a span of 4 days, the desired outcomes were not achieved. In international news, police have launched a manhunt for a suspect accused of shooting 5 people at a university in Maryland on Tuesday, officials have said. Students at Morgan State University in Baltimore were gathered for homecoming festivities when gunfire erupted and scattered the crowd. 4 men and 1 woman aged 18 to 22 were injured. Police said the number of shooters remain unknown. Pakistan has ordered all unauthorized Afghan asylum seekers, an estimated 1.7 million people, to leave the country by November, which Islamabad blames on Afghanistan-based operatives, has escalated tensions this year. It has also fueled resentment in Islamabad, which on Tuesday announced a crackdown on illegal migrants. The Taliban government urged Pakistan to rethink its unacceptable move. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
I'm Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism and Ports, and I need your help to keep our beautiful islands clean. Littering is unsightly and negatively impacts our tourism industry, which is crucial to our economy. Keeping our islands clean is everyone's responsibility, so let's all work together to keep the Cayman Islands beautiful for generations to come.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
The Health Services Authority has over 120 world-class physicians offering the most comprehensive range of specialist services on island. Our dedicated team of professionals provide the highest quality care in orthopedics, interventional radiology, women's health, geriatrics, and a host of other specialist areas. We are a JCI accredited organization with a proven record of excellence. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For more information, visit hsa.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born in Watering Place, Cayman Brac, on the 8th day of July 1936, Captain Fred Elman Scott was the fifth child born to Nalio and Vera Scott. Captain Scott was a quiet-natured child who liked going on the bluff with his grandfather Oscar Brown, swimming every Saturday evening and playing cricket down where Miss Alamay's house sits now. He was very studious at Creek Elementary School and did very well under the tutelage of his favorite teacher, Miss Isley Connolly MBE. Following the tragic death of his father at sea, at age 14 he left school to work with Arnold Foster to support his family. In 1953, he joined his first ship, the Beretta, a local cargo vessel, signing on as deck boy, working his way up to bosun. From 1953 until 2006, some 52 years, Captain Scott made his living working off the seas.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us, and let's leverage the technology that we still have that works as we, what is that they used to say? Let your fingers do the talking. Well, we connected up with our good friends, the BRAC. Well, Miss Anna Rose and Miss Julianne, good afternoon. How are you guys?
Hi, good afternoon.
Oh man, it's exciting to not only talk to you, but to hear your voices and to be, even if it's just temporary, to be transported to the tranquil, peaceful, wonderful, blessed place of Cayman Brac. So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Man, it's, as we were planning this discussion, we get a chance to celebrate our elderly, and perhaps through you, Ms. Julianne, we get a chance to maybe have Miss Anna Rose into our discussion. But the idea that we are still one people who love and nurture each other, who can remember yesteryear, but who look forward to great things that are yet to come, right?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Sorry. and again, really appreciate you taking time out and sharing, because I think hopefully what it'll do, not just for our sister islands and the Cayman Brac community in particular, but across the Cayman Islands, that we look at our people and see the love and sacrifice that they have for Cayman, but the work that we can still do together to make this place, that place that we want to continue to be proud of. First, as a community development officer, for the Sister Islands, Mr. Dan, what is that like working with our elderly and by extension the wider community?
Well, working with our elderly, it is very enlightening. They have a lot of wisdom, knowledge they're with us. They have, even up until this week, I visited a senior, and they had a lot of stories to tell us about, yesteryears and how they did things back then. Even speaking about, their water, how they would drink it out of a well. Sometimes it would have moss in it, sometimes it wouldn't. It didn't affect them. And how this generation would almost struggle to live in a time like that, where water has to be fresh and whatnot. So it's definitely a wonderful experience, and growing up here and being able to, reach back out and speak to them now, and having them even be able to tell me stories about myself or my family that I hadn't even known.
Yes.
It's a lovely experience. And even so with the youth, just creating programs and helping guide them along their way as well, and ensuring that it's a lot of intergenerational activities I think is important that we try to plan over here, especially Grand as well, just to make sure that the gap isn't missed, so that there isn't a gap there in between things they did then and now. I know we always talk about, what was the saying, iron ship?
Wooden men, iron ships.
Yeah.
Iron men and wooden ships, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Indeed. But Miss Anna Rose, with that in mind, and congratulations for being selected ambassador for Cameron Brack in particular. I'm hopeful that I will not only, as Ms. Julian, does always show a great and immense respect for you and others, but you are still youthful, energetic. You're still full of life and vigor and vitality, right, Ms. Anna Rose?
Yes, sir. Before I go into that, first of all, let me thank the Department of Children and Family Services for selecting me, and by extension, my community, for putting forward nominations for me to be the Older Persons Ambassador for this year, representing the Sister Islands. It is an honor and privilege to serve.
And I think, I know you have, over the years, highlighted what is probably an example that epitomizes the spirit that is our people, that loving, caring, giving, kind way. Now, through you, I think we can see in a wider community, as Ms. Julian was sharing, we have great people. We just need to not only celebrate them during the month, but every day. And as she shared, ensure that gap doesn't become one that divides us, but it is reminded of, where we come from, who we are, and what is it that we're expecting, as the generations come and go.
Yeah.
Ms. Anna Rose, from that, what can you share, not only, from your own experiences, not just your education and your community involvement, even to this day, but to more of our younger people, and by that I would say, those of us who are, say, under 50, still relatively young parents trying to navigate, whether it's the birth of our grandchild, whether it's the, sort of coming into own of our own children into their careers and their education. As Ms. Julian was sharing, for some of us, we don't know what it's like to go to a well, much less drink water. But even if it is, maybe that well water, or we're told, probably isn't safe anymore.
Yeah, things have really changed a lot, even during my time. But
as you look at it, of course, Ms. Julian, just share with us, but as you look at it, they say change sometimes is the only constant, and change for many is something that they look forward to, but very few are willing to embrace. I leave it to you to share as you wish, but seeing the incredible changes that are taking place in the society, not only that have already happened, but whether it's in the Cayman Islands, whether it's in the Brac specifically, or even in the region, are there things that you would say to us, let's pay attention, let's not make sure that they get out of hand, that we lose sight of those things that are really important, the family, the safety, the sense that we are not just consuming today, but we're looking forward to maybe putting aside something for that rainy day for tomorrow.
Sorry, Dwayne, you're breaking up a little bit there.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry about that. Thanks for letting us know. Is that any better now? Are you able to hear us any better now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go again?
Okay, yeah. No, I was just asking if, as you're looking at the things that have already changed, are there any particular concerns of whether from the Cayman Brac perspective or even the wider Cayman Islands, changes that could potentially be not necessarily the best going forward, for the next generation?
I know the major thing that has been coming up definitely is obviously the cost of living.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that even purchasing land, building a home for younger Caymanians, definitely a lot different from how it was back in the day. A lot of young Caymanians are struggling to find jobs. We're struggling to get by or even be able to afford a mortgage. So we're seeing a lot of issues like that. Unfortunately, as many know too, we're having a lot of drug-related issues on the island. So with those in mind, there is quite a bit of changes happening that we do need to keep an eye on. It's always if you see something, say something,
mm-hmm.
Making sure that we're all safe.
And the whole issue with drugs, and sadly we've seen that affect many communities, not just in the Cayman Islands but globally. But do you think that seeing what it has happened on Grand Cayman, not just the development but the use and abuse of drugs, are there ways that we can learn from that so that we don't have that same sort of negative consequence in the Brac as well?
Definitely. It's on a smaller scale here, compared to Grand Cayman, but for us it's,
mm-hmm.
a major issue because it's changed drastically in recent times. But I think there's always lessons to be learned from anything, whether you look back in the past or even, like you said, how Grand handles those situations over there. But I do feel like our stakeholders here, whether that's the RCIPS or CBC, they're doing quite a bit just to make sure that we aren't forgotten, that things are being handled over here. I know there's a lot more presence with the police helicopter over here as well. So they are doing their part, as are we at the department. So hopefully with those partnerships, we can definitely stay on top of things.
Are there things that you reference in, and this is where I really appreciate for us to look at not only the month of October, and as a wonderful lady shared with me earlier, if we would just listen to some of our wiser heads, we'll get good counsel, we'll get an experience, we'll get a perspective that maybe we are too quick to take for granted because we're not willing to listen anymore. But as you were sharing, it's not just the political nature of things, these are the societal consequences. Is it then that we're looking for government to do something, or is it that we are failing to see what we can do as parents, as teachers, as the extended community?
I think it's a little bit of each. Everything can't always be government entities.
Mm-hmm.
I think the community also plays a major role in that as well. Everybody needs to buy in order for things to work. So I think it's everybody's responsibility, not just government or private sector. It's the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm. It's that, we keep hearing it takes a village, but is that something that we're just saying without recognizing how important it is to be doing? And this is why I look at the Brac community and the two of you in particular, not just as community development also, but as that ambassador. And the word itself should serve us as a reminder that we can contribute. We can still contribute. And that thing that we did maybe in our formative years, well, we can still be embraced if we've been, willing to give them the opportunity to contribute. Definitely.
You don't have to be employed to
mm-hmm.
share your talents or services, you can always volunteer for anything in the community. So I think that's very important, that even outside of a paid profession, that you still are involved, you still give a lending hand whenever you can.
Yeah. If I might, with respect, ask this, and it's only after a discussion I referenced earlier, didn't get a chance to be a part of it for as long as we would normally, given all the things were happening. But it comes to the adage that sometimes we don't look at our own with the same level of respect and appreciation. What is it the scripture talks about? A prophet is not with the honor save in his own country. Do you think that in the Cayman Islands, generally speaking, that we are not looking at our own and seeing their insight, their wisdom, and seeing what is it that they actually can do, want to do, and have actually done, but we are quick to dismiss them?
I think there are situations where that does happen. Obviously, with the melting pot of cultures that we have in Cayman Islands, with various generations, as times have changed, it can be a little difficult to always get everyone's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you might miss the mark. You might get opinion of people that you think, are the majority, and sometimes it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
But I do see the areas or sometimes where we do put our best foot forward, and we do try.
Yeah, definitely.
Make sure that Caymanians especially are included in everything in the forefront. Like I said, we do miss the mark. We're not perfect. No one is perfect. But I think the most important thing is that we try.
Right. I wonder too, though, and specifically when we look at her, if people would allow me, because I say it with great respect, or elderly, they've worked, whether they're 60, 70, 80, 90, or 100, they've worked all their lives. They've contributed. They've done what they did, not for any particular award or recognition. They constantly want to be able to continue to contribute. I wonder, though, if we are failing them and future generations by not ensuring that, my words, they've earned that right to speak, because they have life's experience under their belts. They can tell us about things that happened even before we were born, and not just in our families, but perhaps in our communities, perhaps in the region, world events. And I wonder if we're drawing from that wealth of knowledge that they still have.
I think we've made quite a bit of stride in ensuring that the elderly are not forgotten. We've seen that with the formation of the Older Persons Council. Designate an entire month to older person activities. We hold those throughout the year as well. And as I said, we try to do a lot of intergenerational activities just to make sure that their voices continuously heard. People might not always be receptive to it because times have changed.
Right.
But I do think we've made quite a bit of stride in the area of making sure that they're still heard in a sense. As with anything, we can always do more. There's always room for improvement. But I think with our aging population, we find sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. So when you get older, obviously your mobility becomes an issue. You're not always willing, you're not always feeling well in wanting to go out to engage in public activities or events. So therefore, your voice is almost lost unintentionally. So there is that area, but we definitely want to make sure that they're always heard. So if anyone ever feels like they aren't, constructive criticism we'll always accept. So if there's ways that we can improve that we aren't currently, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they can't let the department know. We will always, put our best foot forward and try to bridge the gaps as we can.
Yeah. I wonder, though, Miss Anna Rose, if I can ask you then, is it that politeness that we are as a people? We don't make a lot of noise. We don't loud and obnoxious and, garrison like some. I wonder if that causes some of us to not be heard as quickly or as loudly as perhaps we should.
No doubt that is a true statement. But acknowledging and celebrating all the persons for what they have sacrificed, to contribute to and build the Cayman Islands, is an excellent way of putting into action the Caymankind belief and ideal. It would demonstrate, that the Cayman Islands respects and honors their older persons, and is proud to acknowledge them and demonstrate to them that they are loved, respected, and held in, high regard.
And I think, as Julian said, we not just dedicate a month, but for many of us in our own communities, it's daily that we show that love and that respect, that we go to them for advice, that we see them. I'm hoping that through you as the very, very able ambassador and the others, that we can see not only the works that you've done to date, but the potential that still lies ahead, and the way that can encourage many of us to look to that society where our elderly are to be continually respected and recognized, but they're also to be approached in such a way that we can benefit from their expertise, their experiences, their wisdom.
Exactly. And, the older persons, it provides information to the younger generation on role models that they can emulate. And I know now that I have become an older person, and having a mother who is and has been one of the hard-working and loyal stalwarts in, our little island, I can personally relate to the feeling of satisfaction and the joy of being respected, acknowledged, and valued for my contributions to my country.
Yeah. If I might ask you, and I was thinking about it earlier because I look at the people that are 20 to 30, 40 years my senior, and only because I know that they are, that older, so to speak, chronologically, but their enthusiasm and energy, they may not be able to run the 10 miles as quickly as they could when they were 10 years old, but they can probably still do it. They just take a little bit, few minutes. Do you think that when we look at our parents and grandparents, the older ones in our society, that we see them, for what they are and what they were, and still hold them in high regard?
Definitely, I think we should always hold them in high regard. They have, of course, they built up the country, and they deserve a lot of respect.
Indeed. I fully agree with you. I think that is something that I'm hoping we will never lose sight of, and always have that value, for those who are, our senior. Ms. Judah, when we come back from the break, though, if you would, maybe share specifically some of the activities in particular in the BRAC, but generally speaking, as we go through the month, would that be okay?
Sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
Oh man, this is it's nothing like learning from a seasoned veteran, wiser, more knowledgeable people, and to get a chance to talk to them, man, I feel honored always. So please join us right after the break.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the all-new Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Attention Cayman Brac residents, your voices have been heard. We are thrilled to announce that Cayman National will be installing a new ATM in the Kirkconnell store in Stake Bay on September 1st. At Cayman National, our priority is to make banking easy and convenient.
Upgrade your connection with Digicel's all-new postpaid plans. Experience the freedom of endless local calls, more any use data to browse, entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, and endless social data for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's not all. Stay connected when you travel with roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean, and make calls while abroad with more international minutes than ever before. Stay connected on the fastest, most reliable network. Make the switch today. Digicel, better connected.
Cybercrime happens online or through the technology we use every day. Anyone can be a victim of cybercrime, whether you are a young person being bullied or harassed online, or an older person or business who's been scammed out of money or personal data. Cybercrime is an issue that touches all of us. The Cayman Islands government has therefore created an online resource to help keep you cyber safe in an ever-changing world.
In online situations, it is better to be cyber safe than sorry. Learn now to protect yourself against cybercrime. Visit gov.ky/cybersafe.
Talk to Dick. But I do have some questions. Talk to Dick.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk to Dick.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Thanks for joining us, and from the BRAC, truly is a pleasure. I'm always honored and feel genuinely privileged to just have this opportunity as we speak to the ambassador for OPM from the BRAC, Miss Anna Rose Scott, and the community development officer for the Sister Islands, Miss Julianne Scott. Ladies, thanks very much. I can't say that enough. It's really is inspiring to chat, to both of you, but through you to be reminded of our beautiful people and that love and kindness that we have. It's just innate. So thanks very much, right?
Thank you for having us as well.
Yeah. We have, without question, some of the most beautiful, loving, kind people, I think, that walk the face of the earth, and it's just something that we should celebrate without, any kind of second guessing. And I'm glad that we do it on a regular basis, but in particular that we dedicate a month. So, Ms. Julian, from that perspective, though, some of the activities that are coming up, I know you have a few things you have to get to. I'm at work, but you have to take a few minutes of your time to join me, so I appreciate that. What's on the calendar in particular for the BRAC?
Well, for the BRAC, we are focusing quite a bit this year on some educational presentations.
Mm-hmm.
So each Wednesday for the first 3 weeks, we have educational presentations, and they take place at the public library every Wednesday starting at 10 a.m. So today we had one which was facilitated by Mr. Sidney Ebanks of Credit Union. And so he presented on financial education.
Mm-hmm.
We had quite a good turnout for that as well, despite the weather, because it was very rainy over here today. But we had a good turnout. And next week we have Embracing Positive Aging, which will be facilitated by HSA, the public health nurse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the following Wednesday, the 18th, we will have one done by HSA physiotherapists, and that's on fitness and aging. So as you know, many may know already, the theme for this year for Older Persons Month is Aging Your Way. So the idea around the presentations is just, educating them on various ways to age in their own way, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they're focusing, on their mobility and also their finances, making sure that everything is in place. And, with aging or with anything else in life, you get a little anxiety, as you get older and you notice you're not able to do things the way you used to be able to do it, which can cause some depression sometimes. So we definitely want to make sure that, they're provided with all the information and tools necessary to age their way positively.
Mm-hmm.
We will also have the Sister Islands Gala. This is our second annual gala that will be held in the BRAC. That is on the 21st of October at the Multipurpose Hall. And then following that, on the Sunday, we have our church service at Crossroad United Baptist Church, and that's starting at 11 a.m. And our final event in the BRAC will be the Intergenerational Fun Day, which is being held at the Multipurpose Hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on Monday, we actually relaunched the Adopt a Grandparent program at the high school. So we're very excited for all of those different activities and events this month.
As I listen to you from the gala to your weekly presentations, the theme is fitting, age in your way. But if I might perhaps through you, Ms. Julianne, ask Ms. Anna Rose as we look at our, one of our discussion, that sense of independence, the independence to, remain in your homes, to move about, the financial independence. You've worked hard, you saved, you earn, but then the ability to navigate the banking structures sometimes. How and to what extent can we do more of that to make sure that from the use of technology to going into the bank and seeing the person in the bank being helpful, getting our money, doing our deposits, paying our bills? Is that something that our elders, you feel, are comfortable doing, or have we, displaced them because we've adopted, this quote-unquote technology?
I think not the majority, but a lot of us seniors still, are capable of doing even online banking. Some of us do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of our seniors now are not able to get out and around, but they have family members who do their business for them, and there are some who still, can do their banking and whatnot
mm-hmm.
by the, on the telephone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of them who are not mobile are still capable of doing their own business.
And I'm glad that you share that, because I think in what you said, the one thing that really should resonate with us, we as not just only their children or grandchildren or even sometimes younger siblings, but family. We need to be there for company, sometimes to just lend an extra pair of helping hands, so that comes back to us. And I honored to know that within many of our communities, and in the back in particular, we still see that sense of connectedness that is in our community. Do you think, Ms. Julianne, from your work as community development officer, is that an easier task because of the size, the relatively smaller numbers that are on the BRAC, say, relative to Grand Cayman, or is that more difficult because then there are less hands to go around?
there's two sides to that coin. So it can be a little easier in a sense, but as you said, Grand is larger, so they would have more help. Brack is just, Brack and Little Cayman is just one person, which would be me. But I do say, in Grand they have CDOs for each district as well. So and those districts make up the same amount of population most times as the sister islands. So I think it's more or less the same. It can be easier all in a small space, but it does have its challenges for sure.
Yeah. So I guess, Ms. Anna Rose, then it comes down to us as Caymanians specifically, but for all who live and work here, valuing that if we work together to ensure the place is safe and civil and sensible, that whether we're just going to take a few steps from our house to our neighbor or just take a stroll down by the beach, that we're looking out for each other, that we are our brother's keeper. Is that something that you're confident is still part of our community? We're looking out for one another?
Definitely. That's the reason for us putting different programs in place, such as the So-and-So Ladies Club. We meet every Monday, and we do share our skills and talents with young people also. And, it's a form of socializing and getting that group of people out of their homes and, at a place where they can meet and socialize and do their crocheting or whatever. And, they feel valued in giving those crochet items, to the Colonel Community Care Center. During Christmas also, the people in the Faith Hospital and shut-ins. I take my pride in doing things like this for the seniors, together with the community development officer.
Well, I think
that too. I will add though, when she says socialize, so you're talking about older persons. They're still very involved in the community, and they're mixing and mingling with younger persons as well. So those conversations do come up where they share day-to-day events or major things happening in the islands. They share their opinions, because I've attended a few of those, and it's not just sharing the craft. It's also the knowledge, the information, like I said, about anything in the community, and offering their assistance as well, volunteering wherever they can. We do have older persons. They don't like to be called senior citizens. They're just in that 60, 65, but they feel young, so they don't want to hear that they're older.
Right.
But they definitely share information amongst themselves and in a positive way.
Yeah, that fellowship, and I think as I was listening, to Ms. Anna Rose, I've heard her being described as the soul of the community, and you can understand why. That the evenings on Monday as they gather for, I like the name so and so. It's a way to come together and to, as you shared, Ms. Julian, to bring people to learn about things, not just the craft, but to be connected and grounded and reminded of what's happening in our communities. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I'm always trying to find more of us who are willing to champion together what is truly a beautiful place with some wonderful people, and to you, just spending some time to chat with us makes it that much easier. Any closing thoughts, Miss Anna Rose, that you may want to leave with our wider community, but in particular, to the Cayman Brac community specifically? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I just want to say, that being nominated as the ambassador for the Sister Islands, that it will hopefully open more doors for me to continue in my community and country as a whole, to provide opportunities, to share with the wider community.
Yeah, and it will inspire others as well.
Projects. Sir?
It will inspire others. I mean, they see that you can continue to contribute no matter what. You're just going to be willing to, take the opportunity, and your actions, your enthusiasm, just your words alone are always inspiring.
Thank you, and hopefully our Brackers who are listening to this program will come out and support these various activities that the community development officer has put together.
Well, I'm confident they will, and I'm glad to know that we're able to not just highlight and share, but to be reminded, of who we are, the stock which we come, and the need to continue to work very diligently together. So, thanks, Ms. Anna Rose, and congratulations. Certainly, a fitting ambassador indeed.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Ms. Julian, any final thoughts you may want to leave with our listeners?
Yes, definitely. So besides what Ms. Anna just shared for encouraging the BRAC seniors and youth as well for intergenerational activities to come out, join us for, socialization, for learning, for anything of those pieces, we definitely want to encourage them. But I want to encourage those in Grand to attend the events over there as well, because they have a number of events happening, whether that's informational presentations, social gatherings, because I know they have their caregiver awareness session happening this evening, which will be hosted by Health City Cayman, and that's at the Georgetown Constitution Hall, and that starts at 6:30 p.m. And that will be the first of 3 caregiver awareness sessions with Health City. There's also one for West Bay and Georgetown residents. So we want to encourage them to come out to those. And they also have their gala happening, and theirs is on the 14th at the Kimpton. We will be circulating flyers of events happening, and the main flyer has Kimmebrack highlights as well as Grand Caymans. So those will be going out if persons haven't received them as yet. And for all of our events, registration is required. So I want to encourage all seniors or family members of seniors, if they aren't able to do it for themselves, to register, come out and participate. Is very important for their, for future events, and just making sure that the gap is bridged.
We certainly, not just only extend invitation, but we want to be, there so they can be included. So if we have to, draw alongside as their children and grandchildren, then that's what we do. Thank you both very much, and thanks for taking time to share with us, and a wonderful event for each of the ones on the for the month, each in your way. That's the best way to do it. But thanks very much. Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Have a good evening.
You too, Miss Anna Rose and Mr. Julian Scott. It's a reminder of the beautiful people that we are. I'm going to pause and take a break. When we come back, it'll be up line for the remainder of the program. So give us a shout and share your thoughts. Stay tuned.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
All aboard the Pizza Boat! Cayman's newest pizzeria. Birthday parties, office luncheons, summer camps, game night. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat. A Cayman twist to pizza. Bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
Attention Cayman Brac residents. Your voices have been heard. We are thrilled to announce that Cayman National will be installing a new ATM in the Kirkconnell store in Stake Bay on September 1st. At Cayman National, our priority is to make banking easy and convenient.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love, like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicel's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman annual Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life returns Sunday, October 15th. 5K walk, 10K run, and a 15K and 25K ride. Registration fee is only $25. Join your community and help raise awareness for prostate and colon cancer. For more information, visit the Lions Club Facebook page or call 938-PACE. That's 938-7223. Register online at caymanactive.com. The Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life, proudly sponsored by DART, Cayman Islands Seafarers Association, CUC, Conyers, Water Authority, NTEC, Bodden Holdings, BAF, Foster's Brothers, Consolidated Water, ICWI, Mango Tree, and South Coast Bar and Grill. Sunday, October 15th, 5K walk, 10K run, and a 15K and 25K ride.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a second location in Governor's Square. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
Mark your calendar. The Cayman Islands Center of Business Development presents the Small Business Expo on Thursday, October 5th at the Grand Cayman Marriott Resort. Don't miss the exciting exhibitions, insightful workshops, and panel discussions, and a fabulous cocktail and networking session. It's a full day of celebration, learning, and connecting with Cayman's small business community. Join us on the 5th of October at the Grand Cayman Marriott Resort from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And I'll tell you about that conversation in a second. But put it this way, you ask for cassava cake and chocolate cake. If you're willing to pay, you get it. Miss Rhonda. Ooh, Rhonda. Let's take this call though. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello?
Welcome back, Mr. Sterling.
If it's okay to say, it's a pleasure to hear you. How are you?
I am fine, except for taking all the heat that you're not into that station.
Ooh.
I take all the heat when you're not in there. Everybody's calling and asking me, where are you? And no disrespect to anyone, but they say when they don't hear you, they don't must listen to the radio.
Well,
I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad.
Well,
where I go, I am being asked, where is Sterling? I'm like, I ain't Sterling, right?
I would joke and say I wouldn't be so lucky.
You
No, but thank you. Sorry I had to take the heat, but yes, I am planning to take some time off later on this month. I had booked it for almost a year now, so we'll see if I get to go. So hopefully people won't hold it against me too much.
We don't need to know where you're going, and we don't need to know what you're doing. And you could give us some heads up within the week that you're on. Remember,
Okay.
I'll be off on the 13th to the 21st. Please say something.
Okay, I'll do that. And thank you.
Stop worrying where is Sterling.
Yeah. You know, I'm not good like that, you know. I don't mean anything by it, I guess. But anyway, I respect what you shared, and it's good that people, you know, miss you. Maybe it's that country song is wanting to be gone but not forgotten, but be forgotten and not gone. So.
Yeah, and it also has one to say, I miss you, but I'm glad you're someone else's problem.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a song.
Yeah. Haven't heard that one though, eh? Paul, you had to play that one, man.
Yeah, I told you to play that one, so I haven't heard it in a long time.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
And that one to say, hello doors, hello windows.
Actually, there's one that just came to mind, but maybe I shouldn't sing that one, eh? What's that song?
Well,
I'm having, daydreams about night things in the middle of the afternoon.
You know what I mean? Yep. You're only human, so hey, let it out.
There you go. No, man.
Well,
Yeah.
we're glad you're back.
Thank you. It's good. I miss being here.
Yeah. You're well missed. No disrespect to all the other ones, but boy, like I didn't tell you, I had to clone you one way or the other.
Well, boy, that might provide a problem for some and a relief for others. I never can tell, but I wouldn't mind.
But I want to ask you a question. Hope he doesn't get insulted.
No, if I can answer, I will.
Do we have any our young people who's taking in the broadcasting
Yeah.
That we could have some of our locals. I'm not saying nothing about that we don't have locals on our radio station. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But we have so many young people out here that is tumbling their fingers, and I wonder if they're interested in radio shows and all that kind of good stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking that. And I think a couple of things immediately come to mind. One, really came on. I can say this without exaggeration or fear that someone will contradict. From its inception, and certainly for the years I've been here, we have always tried to extend invitation to encourage not just our students, but some of our younger people, as you shared, to come in, see what it's like, whatever little we can teach, and however we can help to inspire and nurture. But that sort of speaks even to a bigger picture, as the gentleman earlier was speaking. The population in this country of Caymania, relatively speaking, it's not a significant percentage. And so
it's not.
If you have a Caymanian who's taking up an employment or an interest in a particular sector, there aren't that many to go around, So maybe it's one of the challenges when many years ago, many would ask, well, for whom are we developing? What's the pace of development? How are we, sort of moving about our space? What is it we're trying to achieve?
Exactly. I agree with you.
I don't think that we're getting it. I mean, if you were to look, for instance, any kind of development, a building is being constructed, chances are you're going to have to find people to build it, and that's going to come from employment elsewhere. When the building is complete, is it a hotel? Is it housing? People to staff it, people to accommodate it. If you open up an ice cream parlor, for instance, chances are you're going to have to find someone. It's just not that many people. So what is it that we're trying to achieve, and why, and how soon?
Exactly. I agree with you. What are we trying to achieve? And what do we have to do to try to encourage the few K9 that we do have? I don't know what it's going to take to encourage them, but they need lots of encouragement. And then it's probably going to need some sort of incentives to get them rolling, because they're so easy to get defeated. They're so easy to get discouraged.
Yeah.
And those things, they'd rather listen to a friend and say, oh, man, let's go and get some food at the forest and walk out and pay for it. Yeah. That's a lot easier than trying to say, you know what, I'm going to be a police officer. I'm going to be an immigration officer and a radio host and so forth. That is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to do. So, what are you doing in your 2 o'clock break now?
Looking across the table, yes, Mom. I think he says we're taking that.
Do you have anyone coming on, or can I hold on? Or
we have a caller, but if you want to hang on, yeah, we can do that.
yeah, I'll hold on.
All right, and then we'll join the other callers after you as well. Okay. Thanks very much. Please stay tuned, everyone.
Radio Cayman,
the voice,
the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. Maples Group welcomes a record number of newly qualified Caymanian lawyers in 2023. 5 articled clerks successfully completed their Articles of Clerkship program with the firm this year. Following their admissions as attorneys at law in the Cayman Islands, Anastasia Webster, Alexandra Jennings, Anika Brown, Christian McCurdo, and Martina Berry were appointed as associates across a range of practice areas in the firm's Cayman Islands and London offices. In international news, activists have accused Iran's morality police of beating a girl for not wearing a hijab and posted a photo purportedly showing her in a coma. 16-year-old Armida Jeravand collapsed after boarding a Tehran metro train on Sunday. Officials said she fainted and released CCTV footage in which she is seen being pulled unconscious from the train. A human rights group alleged that she was subjected to a severe physical assault by morality police officers. Not all victims of Tuesday's deadly bus crash in Venice have been identified nearly 24 hours on, a prosecutor says. DNA samples might be used to confirm the identities of some of the 21 killed who were not carrying personal documents, said Bruno Cerci. The electric bus crashed through a barrier on Tuesday evening and plunged almost 50 feet. 3 children, including a baby, were among the dead, according to officials. The bus was carrying 39 tourists from the center of Venice to a campsite. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And we have a couple of calls on, but Ms. John was so gracious. Thank you so much for holding on. Hope it's good.
Yeah. Sterling, I was hoping I would get you before this thing get through all of the news.
Uh-huh.
But I was happy when our West Bay neighbor called in. I can't call his name, but he called in just before the Cayman Brack call was accepted by you.
Uh-huh.
The gentleman, I can't call his name, but anyhow, I am calling in regards to the video that was going around a couple of weeks ago in regards to the gentleman visiting the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sterling, I saw one of the videos, and I looked at it, and I looked at all the background and so forth of that video. And then he was on a talk show about a week or so ago, and he was asked what airline did he arrive on in the Cayman Islands, and he said he didn't remember the name of the airline.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asked, what hotel did you stay at? And he could not say the name of the hotels you had in, other words, asked his wife where they were staying. Now, Sterling, let me tell you something. Be small.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't that stupid. That man he wanted ammunition for the Cayman Islands, and some of the people gave it to him. That man did not arrive in the Cayman Islands. He also stated in his conversation about Carnival. I saw one background picture of Carnival on the wall where he was at. And he said Carnival and the shuttle took him to the airport. We ain't got no shuttles here going to no airport. You understand? he made a call to the shuttle. If it was one of the extra bus that he had from the hotel or whatever case may be. And starting, he's going to come in for 3 days and spend 2 days in his hotel room. And on the third day, he's going to come back and go to the airport. You're going to tell me that when you was making your video and you come and say so much about Cayman, you couldn't go on that 7 Mile Beach and video that tape and say, well, you know what? Cayman doesn't have this and have that, but they sure got a beautiful beach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I put my head in a chopping block. That man did not come to this island. All that was fabricated, and he had some people interject into that because he had to stick to his story. He could not go too far off of his story that he made these couple of videos of. I listened to half of the one, but I just say, you know what? This man, he not all ready.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I know you got people waiting, but I just want to say that he didn't even say that he wanted to Pedro St. Jean where the first proclamation was made for the Cayman Islands. He Cayman don't have any of this, and Cayman don't have any of that. Yes, he said Cayman got a lot of buildings here and there and so forth and so forth. I agree with that, but that man got that information from off the TV, reading a magazine, someone had a conversation with him, then to made that video. And I just want to say today that I cannot believe, and I'm going to hold myself to this, and I'm going to hold Mr. Kenneth Bryan to this.
Mm-hmm.
He should never have gone and offered that man an invitation back to this island when he said he would never return back to this island.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Kenneth went to try to fix it so he could come back. But let me tell you something. The first impression that is it.
Mm-hmm.
First impression is what messes up everything in a person's head. Didn't want no second chance. And then when he asked, he said no. Thanks for the invitation. In other words, he would not come back. Would come back. I understand he even asked his phone number, and I don't know if he ever got the phone number, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, when it comes to tourism, you cannot please everybody. And we've been doing tourism for too long now. Have that kind of video circling and doing what they're saying about this Cayman Islands. And I want to know who's going to go and have that pulled down off of YouTube and TikTok and every other program, destroying my Cayman Island. I got more to say, but I'll let you go to your calls.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that piece. I was thinking to the name Samuel Winchester. Anybody remember him? All right. Hey, thanks. Thanks very much, Mom. All right.
Okay, good.
Good. All right, let's take the other caller. Hey, thank you, too, for being a part of the discussion. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
How is it going today, man? How are you?
Okay, and you?
I'm always thankful, man. Thanks for asking.
Okay. So concerning our elderly,
Mm-hmm.
the greatest concern our elderly have today, especially concerning their children and their grandchildren,
Mm-hmm.
is the cost of living. Thank you very much, Dwayne.
Hey, thank you for that. And a very salient point. The phone lines are available if you want to give us a shout. 949-8037, 949-8037, or 949-6990. And the caller is right. They look at the cost of living, no matter what sort of incomes they may still have, or whether they are now only drawing money from their investments or otherwise. But then the cost of living for them as they continue to age and enjoy life. But as you said, their children and grandchildren. What are we doing? The gentleman that called earlier said, we need to look seriously at bringing down the cost of living in this country. How do we go about that? To the lady that just called prior to the gentleman, as she was speaking, the name again, came to the surface and not necessarily in the best way. Samuel Winchester. I think today, Dea Martin's singing and sharing, but also the song about if the wind blew up a woman's dress, you read about it in the foreign press. To what extent are we looking at what is happening in our shores and being sensible and sensitive and sufficiently civil in the way we are responding to things? There isn't, without question, many challenges that are still, facing our communities. Many of our businesses probably find it increasingly difficult. Perhaps much of our tourism product still needs to be addressed. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for sharing.
Hey, good evening, Sterling. How are you?
Good to hear from you, man. And someone who was saying hopefully day won't pass until without you calling. So it's good to hear from you.
Yeah, I know.
So she'll be happy now.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I heard her just now, man. I heard her. Yeah, I was listening to your show there with Miss Rose and them too, and speaking with the elders. It's good to hear that she do what she do. I mean,
Indeed.
She's a strong woman. She's a strong woman, and a lot of people love her for what she do and who she is.
A real good spirit and soul, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. She does a brilliant job, man. I love to see when she get them little activities together for the elderly and how they game night and different stuff like that. She really does an awesome job, I must say.
Thank you for publicly acknowledging that, man.
Yeah, man. Anytime I will give her credit. They credit you, man. She's an awesome woman, I must say. But Sterling, I was listening to her and keep watching over these Parliament meetings, and it's so discouraging to know. And when you were talking about the cost of living, that Big Mark was in the meeting, and when he was voicing his opinion on one of his I forget the word that we're using now for that. One of the papers that he brought.
The private members' motions, you mean?
Motion.
Okay.
He got so emotional with it, and I can understand why. Because the government really take things for a joke when it comes to thinking about the people that came on and the cost of living. The government sits in the MLA building or whatever, Parliament building, whatever they calls it now, and they don't realize that people listening to them on their YouTube and watching them, and they're just making fun of the people of the Cayman Islands, knowing that we are struggling, knowing that we are suffering in our own country, and they're sitting there making a joke. And Big Mark had the right to get upset when I listened to him and watched that over and over. I watch it and I understand really what he gets upset for. It's to know that the people that should be defending us, standing for us, Sterling, are the ones that basically making fun and making joke of us to make themselves feel good. But you know what came to me this morning when I was listening to that again? I said, what if those members of the government that are in high power, suppose they had to get their salary reduced to such a low state that it can't rebound them for 1 month to the cost of living? I wonder how they would feel for them to go in the same position that some of our Caymanians are in. It's such a sad situation, Sterling. I mean, when you think about it, time after time after time again. Or you know what? Let's not say time. Let's say year after year. They're getting ready to graduate another group of the school. I keep pondering on that, Sterling. They're getting ready to release another group from Cayman Brac and another group from Grand Cayman. Sterling, where these children will get jobs from? Where in the government sector these people will get jobs from? When the government are making fun of their own people by trying to implement systems to bring foreigners in the country to give them every handout, every cookie and milk, and our children got drink crackers and water. If you understand the phrase that I'm using, people used to use them kind of phrase. I just don't get. I mean, it's embarrassing to me. Sometimes I feel like I could just go to that TV and choke them for how they're sitting there laughing at me, my children, and what will be other people's children. Well, and it's a sad situation. And the thing about it is, people, and you are from the Republic, and I would hate to know that McKeever got come out of that house, because Sterling, the day that he comes out of that Parliament, dog eat our supper. he's getting up in age, but the day that he has to come out of that mansion down there, that he always tell them about, they come outside, they look like they praising one another. Sterling, dog, eat our supper. Listen to me, bro. I am telling you. My father always tell me, don't look behind you, always look ahead. And I am seeing what's going to happen in this country. And our people are falling because we have no one to defend us, Sterling. That is our problem. The children can't defend themselves. Those ones up in there that are supposed to be defending our children, Sterling, they are there for their pocket and to make themselves look highly esteemed among the millionaires that come into our country. That is all they're there for. And dog, I eat our supper because we are in a mess, and it seems like they're sitting laughing at one another. I don't know if you watched the meeting when the former premier, McLaughlin, got up, and they almost had the brawl in the house. I don't know if you watched it, but he had the right, Sterling. He had the right, because really and truly it just sounds like gibberish, foolishness coming out of people's mouth to know that they cannot protect our own Cayman people, whether it's from crime or whether it's of a daily living. Sterling, we are in a serious mess, and I don't know why it is that the people don't put their foot down and try to get this government overthrown in some kind of way, because what's going to happen in Sterling, election time soon come, and now you got hear them knocking on your door, and you got wake up in the morning, find one case of water on your doorstep with one note saying, this is from me. But I got to tell them, well, if they think that they man or woman dropping the water by my step, and I'm a man taking car to their house and punch out your bottle, that they drop off. Because I don't need their handout, Sterling. We need our children taken care of. And all you can hear about how they did this and that to further education in this country and done this and that in this country. So what are they doing for the Caymanians?
I mean, as you share that, I want to ask you a question, but the scripture comes to mind, where there is no vision, the people perish, right?
There you go.
You shared just then, and I didn't, hopefully, and laughing, I just found what you shared to be, you talk about, moving the present government. How soon? I mean, we have an election that probably will be, April 2025. I've heard some people say, well, why don't we make it next year, November, going back to what it would have been after Ivan, and all these years since hasn't changed. But two things. I mean, should we just let it ride till, April 25? Should we bring it forward sooner? And if so, when? What would be your advice?
The whole thing about it is sometimes they had that discrepancy inside our house that day. That's when they should have cramped down on it then, and they should have made changes right away. Because all I got out of that was just a matter of time before anger, resentment, and revenge fall on the opposition side. They should have made sure that they stand their ground. Those that will come from the government side going on the opposition side, go and overthrow that side, that they don't have no power, because all they're going to do for the next 6 months or whatever given time, whatever they give, it's just going to be, all it's going to be a bridal show, and it's not going to do nothing to the country but bring hurt to the country. And when they have to change over the government, it's going to be another year, another 4 years of saying, this is what happened to the previous government, now we got to fix it again. And you see, this is what causing the situation not to come to a stop. It never ends. Because when you finding people up inside there that just sitting there and holding grudge against one another, you are not going to get, your country can't strive out of that. Right. You cannot.
If I may then ask, because there are some who would say, oh, well, not you specifically, they say, oh, you don't understand politics, we need to have a two-party system and then a government in waiting and an opposition. But there are those who would share, well, does that make sense? And I say that being encouraged by what you just shared. We've elected people to work together. They may have differences of opinion, but their objective is they're working for the same country and for the same company. They're working for the same people. Is that part of the problem that we have now? We've adopted this system that divides us, that makes it easier to be conquered. A system that has, one side trying to beat up the other side so that, one can look better than the other.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling, if you got a time and a time you go home, they always rerunning these shows on the Parliament meetings. You listen to how they're sitting there just boasting on themselves about they're not going to shares in CUC or water company or in it. Why they now mention the banks? Why they not mention the banks? And these are the things that causing our country to fall, our people to suffer because the interest rate is so high they can't pay their loans and can't strive and things. They're talking about overthrowing a government for it has to be two sides. We understand it has to be an opposition and a leadership, but when the leadership can't all lead the country, get rid of them, put them on the back bench, and the other ones that's strong and have a vision. They are the ones that have to pick up the mantle and say, listen, let us take the country out of the bind that it's in before that take us over with we'd have to pay a man instead of having to be find money to pay our own people. Because sooner or later, I can tell you, it almost happened when I can't remember the exact year I was in the fire department at the time, when Dart had to help the Cayman Islands, and it got come again. But this time, they're not going to be able to pay him back, He got to take us over and he got to rule us. Because it happened in many of the other countries where they had to run him out. The same thing happened here because the whole fight is, as long as we fight each other in our country, the millionaires and the billionaires, they're coming in and they're sitting back and they're looking and they're waiting for the opportunity to say, listen, if this country can continue fighting, if they don't stay independent with Britain, and they fall and they go under their own laws and their own regulations and try to strive on their own, this is where we're going to grab the cat by the tail. The whole thing about it is we are the cat. We don't got no claws, darling. We can't fight back for nothing. And our children are the ones that coming up in life, and they are the ones that going to suffer. All you can hear them upside about the product and the this. Listen, we have one product in this life, and that's our children. That's the only product we have, Sterling. Your children and mine. Other children, mother's children, are the ones that matters in this country. It has nothing to do with product. Yeah. If we don't look out for the country, our children who are going to be Caymanians anymore, we have no such thing. We are going to be taken over by the populace that comes up from the outside, and we are going to be run from our own country, dead in our own country. Our children have nothing to look back on. And the list goes on and on, Sterling. It ain't gonna stop.
Certainly isn't.
Because it happens because of the government fighting one another and ripping down one another, and they need to stop trying to say who not doing this and who not doing that. And the whole public know who is involved. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, you're saying a lot, my friend.
I wish I could preach a little more for you, but anyway, another day.
Another day, boo. All right.
Yeah, well, catch
you take care, man. Enjoy the rain.
All right, cool. Yeah.
All right. One more call, one more break, and then stay tuned.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what, though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the all-new Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
Remembrance Day, November 11th, will be here soon. That's when we remember and give thanks for those Caymanians and others who have fought, defended, and preserved the democracy we have enjoyed in the Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands Veterans Association Gala is merely days away on October the 14th at the Marriott. The Poppy Appeal will be initiated on October 14th. Be sure and get your reservations for the gala from the Cayman Islands Veterans Association, or you can call Andrew at 916-5317, Paul at 916-0701, or Loxley at 916-7755.
Tune in Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. for the Daily Sports Report, covering local, regional, and international sports. Proudly brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage and the National Heroes Day Committee invites nominations for the 2024 National Heroes Day Award. To nominate, visit gov.ky/YSCH and click Nominate for NHD. The deadline for submissions is midnight, Sunday, October 15th. Nominate your hero today, Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It feels like a Wednesday. I guess it is a Wednesday. Let's take this call. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, good to hear from you. How are you?
Fine, thanks to you.
Oh, excellent. Very, very thankful.
I want to agree with everything that caller just came, and the other callers who was special that last one going off there. But tell him that he got it a little wrong, because I think that we still are being paid by that. That's my opinion. So he's even buying us even a little bit more. And we need, they said a cigarette in the sauce, right? Until you taste it, you wouldn't know what it is. But we Caymanians are still asleep. I don't know what happened to them. They're very, very asleep. But they need to wake up. Maybe we need to call on, I don't know who to organize a petition. Yes, the election needs to be brought back to November of 2024. We need to, I know a lot of it they don't want, because they don't want that 5 months of cut salary, because they're going to say they didn't get their full tenure of their 4 years. But at the rate that we're going, we're being destroyed and we can't take it anymore. We can soon get some resentment. Children that their parents are being worked to death to try to put food on the table for them. Nobody's listening for us. We need somebody. So if it takes that we got to call an early election, as far as I'm concerned, it should be no, but if you want to wait till 2024 and bring it back, the country needs our help. And the country is not the body, it's the people. And people that represent us should if they got the country at heart, as they clean the doors, we can see different from that. But they need to say, okay, we are going to step back, put Cayman back in line with the rest of the world. Because we need to come back. Because April is not our regular time. We understood what it did because of the hurricane, but now we need to come. We need to back. As soon as we went forward, we can back it back up a little bit, because we need to come back. Maybe we need to get to the back of the line and start back running again. And then they would realize, or we need to do some serious pay cuts with their salary. Because, in my opinion, if they had get some pay cuts, they would feel what we're feeling on the outside. They're not feeling it, because every month we pay their salary, whether it's $9,000 or whether it's $42,000 or whatever it is. We pay that. And it's getting worse every day. And as we can hear, their salary is not going down, their salary is going. So, in my opinion, a lot of them just going there for the benefit of that salary, because they're not sure if they're going to make it back in for the next election. So, a lot of them just going there for the salary, but we need some area shaken up.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to leave you there with that. Are you asking a question? Go ahead.
No. I was just listening to you and thinking, as you shared, relative to when the election should be. Does that mean that we, the voters, as you said, petition, do we orchestrate that? Is it for those who are elected?
But it looks like we got had orchestrated because the government not doing nothing about it. The government's after government now. This is from 2004 and this is 2023. So you can see neither government has tried to fix it, but we need to fix it. Somebody got to be the black sheep and do what they got to do, because you're going to be a lot of backbiting about it. But if you use the person that got to fix it, go ahead and fix it. If it takes the voters to do it, maybe we need to petition somebody and say we need our country back in line. That might be a good wake up, that they realize that we still controls a lot of their destiny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you very much, and have a nice weekend.
You do the same. Start from today, all right? Appreciate you enjoying and sharing with us. And to our listeners, it's only Wednesday, but man, yesterday we were trying to just like we change daylight savings and manipulate the clock. Maybe we can change the days. And well, tomorrow is tomorrow, so the KPMG Greenbowl students, looking forward to having them in our studio. We'll have a chance to talk to our friends in CEC and then some open line thereafter. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Radio Cayman provides excellent music and entertainment, always good information and education through their various sundry programming. So thank you so much for being a loyal listener. Let us together make this country even better. Until tomorrow.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.